at all. That was deceptive.
I haven't budgeted for new shocks, unfortunately.
I can't see your camera lying on the floor behind us either, so it should be all right. At least we know where it came off.
Yeah.
There you go, that'll help.
Nice.
Get rid of these tyres.
Hi everyone, welcome to Nightfall Drives. Doug here, and today JJ has brought along his first car, Focus ST, that he's had nearly all its life. Thanks so much, JJ, for coming along today.
That is my pleasure.
It's I'm really looking forward to getting out for a drive, actually. But if we can just start off, just
Sure.
a little wander around and tell us a little bit about the ST.
So, as you quite rightly pointed out, this is a 2006 Mark II Focus ST. It is 5-cylinder, very famously, 2.5 litre turbocharged, 220 odd horsepower when it was new. Top speed of allegedly 149,
Allegedly
0 to 60.
or
I've seen an indicated 152. It's what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, 2.5 litre turbocharged. Like I say, this particular one is completely stock as well. Never had it modified or anything like that. Just kind of kept it as it is. It's an ST3, which means it was the highest spec one of this generation that they did.
Yeah.
So that means you've got the leather seats, it's got heated seats on it as well, which is all good. It's a 5-door, as you can tell as well. And then it's in the performance blue, which in my opinion was the best colour that these cars came in as well.
Yeah, it's a lovely mid-blue.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah, it is.
perhaps there were also some quite leery colours available,
Yeah.
weren't there? There was an orange one and
Yeah. You only ever really see these in orange or blue, but they did also do white, there was a red, and they also did, I think you get it in grey for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of them also came with the big racing stripes down the middle as well, but I obviously did not go for one of those.
yeah, because they did have a little bit of a yobbish image, I guess, to start with.
Yes.
To be honest, by today's standards, it's actually quite a subtle, nice design, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is actually. Yeah, it's certainly compared to some of the more modern cars, it is a lot more discreet. In terms of this particular car, like you said, this one is my first car, which I'm quite proud of. So I got it in 2007 when I was 21. I basically, when I started my first job, they gave us a graduate loan. So I took that, got a bank loan and spent it very wisely on this one. So I spent 16.5 grand on it, had 16,000 miles on it. And like you were saying beforehand, it was just over a year old. It's now, what, 16 years old maybe? Just over 130,000 miles, something like that. So
130, yeah?
Yeah, so I haven't put a huge amount of mileage on it for the age of the car. So
It's
over the last...
steady, sort of 10,000 a year.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, I've lived in London for the last couple of years, and obviously you don't get to use it as much as a result of that. So I'd try and save it for longer drives or more special drives, those sorts of things. But honestly, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt the need to change it, because it's, you know, it's not super quick by modern standards, but it's quick enough for what I need. Sounds great. It's super comfortable. Obviously it's a 5-door, so it's super practical.
It does everything.
Yeah, it does, and it's been really reliable as well. So even when stuff's broken on it, it's still always got me home. So like, I think the worst thing I had was the turbo stopped working. So you basically had a lovely naturally aspirated 2.5 litre engine, but it would still get me home quite fine, just a little bit slowly. I think the worst thing I had happen was like have a tyre burst on me, but it doesn't have a spare. So I had to call the AA to get that sorted out. But apart from that, it's been pretty good.
Well, and we'll get into it more on the drive maybe, but you've used it for all sorts of things, and it's lived a life, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has.
So,
yeah, been to a lot of different places. So a couple of track days in it, you can kind of see the remnants of some noise stickers up on the windshield.
Yeah.
Taken it to Germany a couple of times, which is where I saw that indicated 152.
Yeah, of course. In a sort of legal environment.
Absolutely, 100%. Had it around the Nürburgring once, but very, very slowly, and even won an auto test in it as well, actually.
Yeah.
So technically, this car does have racing pedigree.
Yeah. So that's reversing into boxes and that sort of thing.
Kind of, not quite like that, but it's more like just a time trial around just around a car park back in my hometown somewhere. So that was fun. Didn't have much competition, but it has actually won something. So very excited about that.
We have racing pedigree on the channel.
Absolutely right.
Okay, just have a quick look under the bonnet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's still warm as well. There you go.
Yeah, the Duratec 5
That's
cylinder.
it, yes.
Originally from a Volvo.
That's right.
Wasn't it? And adapted for this.
Well, I never was sure which way round it was, whether it was for a Volvo or the Ford gave it to Volvo to begin with. But I know it appeared in things like the C30 T5. I think it's supposed to be in the it was that that T5 engine that Volvo used for a lot around that period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's a shame now that I say it's a shame. It's obviously for the best, but it's the generation after this obviously moved down to 4-cylinder 2 litres, and actually the WRC car version of this was a 4-cylinder 2 litre engine.
Oh yeah.
So I always liked the idea that the rally car version of this car had a smaller engine.
Yeah. I think the regs at the time for WRC were pretty restrictive. And,
it was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's something special about the 5. I mean, my parents had Audi Quattro and an Audi S2 at one point, so it's a very unique noise. We'll try and get some of that for you on the exhaust cam.
Yeah, that'd be well worth doing. And that's actually one of the reasons why I bought this car. So when I was looking, I knew I kind of wanted to get something a little bit punchy for my first car. So although I say this was my first one, I'd been driving around. My parents had a 205 diesel and a 306 diesel. Those are the cars that I learned to drive in. They're really good cars, like those old 205s. Gosh, I missed that car. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But like for my first own car, I thought, well, I want something a little bit special with a little bit of a sense of occasion about it. So I was looking at things like all the hot hatches at the time. So looked very closely at the Fabia VRS, which you might remember was that little diesel thing, 130 horsepower, but about 8 million pound-feet of torque or something. So just torque steered all over the place, but really, really fun. Had a look at the Mark 6 Golf GTI quite closely.
Yeah.
Technically better than this in almost every way, but it just didn't really feel fun. Didn't have a sense of occasion about it. It just felt just ruthlessly effective at what it did. I even had a little look at the E46 330D Tourings as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I think they're beautiful cars.
Yeah.
Really quick. But at the time they were all maybe 10 years old, something like that. And they were all a little bit ropey, so I didn't really go down that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about buying one of these because one of my friends at the time already had one. So I was like, well, I don't want to get the same car as what one of my friends has got because that's just a little bit boring and not that original. And I remember very clearly, I thought to myself, right, well, I'll just give one a drive just to see what it's like. And I remember very clearly being sat in the dealership waiting for them to pull one out to take on a test drive. And I remember the noise it made as it pulled past, and I was like, okay, this is the one.
That was a big factor.
Yeah, it really was. So from then, and then I took one for a drive. It was fantastic, and didn't waste much time putting the money down on one afterwards and picking it up.
Shall we take her out for a spin? We can see what it's like.
Let's do it.
did snap back then.
Yes. Yeah, it is a talky little thing. So, well, if you think about the engine, 2.5 litre turbocharged, considering it's only 220 horsepower, something like that, it's relatively understressed, but it does have quite a good bit of punch to it. So you can almost drive it like a diesel, which is quite fun.
Yeah, I guess sort of between 2.5 and 5 or something, it's got a load of punch.
Yeah, it does. And actually, it does rev out really, really nicely as well. So if we find a nice little spot where we can, maybe in second or third, we can max out, we'll give that a go.
Yeah.
But the engine note changes tone when it gets to about 5,500, something like that. Because at the moment, I don't know if this is going to come over on the cameras or not, but it sounds just quite burbly.
Yeah, and there's some pops and bangs on the startup actually. So
oh, was there?
Straight away. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I think it's going to come out nice.
Okay, good. I approve of pops and bangs. Sorry, where are we going here?
Lambo. 2 Lambos. Left here, sorry. And a roller.
Okay.
2 rollers.
Couple of
going on? 3 rollers.
3 rollers. Okay, fascinating.
We'll see if any of those got picked up on any of the cameras.
Yeah.
It's reasonably sort of refined on the boot.
Yeah.
But, so you've never been tempted to chuck on a different exhaust?
No, never been tempted. So part of the reason for that is this exhaust, like, it sounds nice. Like, it's not loud, but just literally the noises that it makes are very, very pleasant. So never really be inclined to do that. Like I was saying when we were speaking a little bit earlier, I've never been inclined to modify it because it was plenty quick enough for what you need, like for road use, which sounds like a very old school type of thing to say, but I've always, because we're racing drivers, right? Well, we certainly try to be as best we can.
I try to be, you still are.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far either. But like between us, we've always thought about, well, how do we drive better and all that kind of stuff as well. And for me, that's always been the biggest thing. Like for road use, I've never really thought it's that important to actually modify your car for stuff, because most things are more than quick enough for what you need on the road. And you get to a point where actually the fastest cars on the road are the ones driven by people who care the least about their driving licenses. Not that fast. So no, never been inclined to do that. I've been tempted to do things with the brakes, because when I was in Germany heening it down the autobahns, turns out these brakes aren't quite so good when you need to slam the anchors on 140 miles an hour. So there's maybe something that I would consider doing. But you're saying how it's just quite a very nice comfy car. The suspension is quite soft considering the type of car that it is, but it still feels quite nicely controlled, so that makes it fun to drive because you can feel the body movement as you're going through the corners, and it just makes it feel like you're going quicker than you actually are, which is really good. But on the flip side, it does also mean it's then just a very comfortable car to spend time in as well. Yeah. And I love these seats as well.
They really hook you in. On you never get it so much on the base of the seat, like the sides.
Yeah.
Really holding you in as well as the back.
That's right, and these are Recaros as well. It's one of the things that came with the ST. Actually, I think all of the STs had Recaros, but they only came in leather on the ST3. And interestingly, the back seats are buckets as well. So you can only actually get 4 people in the car, but the back seats, I've been told, are very comfy. Are those horse friends as well? And when I was looking at cars, I did actually sit in the back seats just to see what they would be like, because I always knew I'd be, I wanted to be carrying passengers and stuff in the car. Yeah. So that was quite an important thing to check out.
Even the back ones look pretty sporty.
Yeah, they are.
Holding you in.
Yeah, very much so. But for long drives and stuff like this, it's really, really nice car to spend time in. Like, you get out of a long 4 or 5 hour drive or whatever, and you just feel like you're ready to go straight away again. Yeah. Whereas in the cars that I used to drive, or like the iGo that I've got as well, that's not quite the case. You do feel a little bit tired.
Yeah, and you're talking about 4 or 5 hour drives, but also through these sorts of roads, and also a lot of track days as well. It's done all sorts of things.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's part of the reason why I've never really been inclined to get anything else, just because it just does everything I need it to. Like this has got that really nice, well, you hear that noise when you punch it.
It's such a good hub.
Yeah, traction control.
I'm a huge fan of anything that's not a 4-cylinder.
Not a 4-cylinder?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a nice noise, but it's very commonplace, isn't it? And
yes, yeah.
you chuck in another cylinder, it changes it entirely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It handled this section of road incredibly well. I mean, I have recently changed the shocks on my MX-5 and they're a little bit sportier, so there's a section of road there I have to slow down for.
Right, yes.
And you just...
Well, part of it is because, like, say here, for example, where that's so bumpy, I think where the suspension is so soft, actually is really well suited to that kind of driving. Whereas with something that's a little bit more stiffly sprung, it would literally ping you off into the air, and tyres that aren't touching the road aren't really particularly useful.
And on track as well, you're talking about lift off oversteer and sorry, my wall. Flying rails.
Sorry.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. How many sets of times have you got through?
Gosh, well, normally when I do a track day, I have to budget, like the track day fees are normally the least expensive part of the whole thing. Because I think the last track day I did was the first one where I haven't had to buy a new set of tyres afterwards, which is lucky because it was these tyres that I've got on now that are these Michelin Cross Climate tyres. So a couple of years ago, me and a few friends, actually the people that we race with, we were talking about doing there was a Corrado just went past, that's not bad. We were talking about doing a road trip to the Alps to go skiing, and I needed to get a new set of tyres anyway. So I thought, well, and I'd heard really good things about these cross climbers, so I thought, well, why not give them a go? And then we never actually went skiing in the end because COVID hit, put an end to that. There's another Rolls Royce.
Another one.
There's obviously some kind of owners convention going on. Or maybe they knew that we were doing this, so they're like, let's go check it out.
They know where the action is.
Yeah, see if they can get on the video. So yeah, we never went skiing, so I've ended up with these basically winter grade tractor tyres on the car. And for like normal road use, they're really, really good. So this morning when I was driving up here, actually, the A2 out of London, like some of the junctions were really badly flooded. This goes through them like they're not even there, which is quite nice. But on track, where they've got such big block depth, it's only when it's dry you do feel them disappear a little bit after like maybe 10 laps or something, then they really start to struggle. So the last track day I did on this, it was actually raining, and these are great for it. And I think that's why I didn't bust these tyres, because it was raining. It was a lot cooler.
So you can tell they're not standard tyres, but they're not quite snow tyres or winter tyres, because they're still proper blocks rather than the very groove ones. But
exactly,
it must have been, what, 2 years you've had them?
Yep. So I'm going to try and do another track day in December, I think, and that might kill them off. But on the other hand, I kind of hope it doesn't, because they're really expensive. I could do without that.
Just like I said, Michelin's on the Lotus.
Right.
So I know the pain.
It's so good.
This is a great bit, but it does tighten on you.
Thank you for the warning.
This is lovely.
Oh wow, that's a good warning.
And then you can put the power in now.
Oh, that was a second gear corner as well, wasn't it? That's a really nice little section.
We have seen quite a few cars in the hedge, the other one going the other way.
Thank you for the warning.
But this way, you're going up the hill. But it does tighten on you halfway around.
Those are the worst ones as well.
And this is also famous for the turbo boost gauge as well.
The little dashboard cluster,
nice little feature.
Which I never look at, because when it's boosting, I'm obviously not looking at the dashboard, I'm looking at which bush it's about to fire me into.
Do you fancy stopping off for a coffee?
Let's do it, that works for me. It's been fine. Wow, I thought that was a really small horse then, but it's just a big dog.
It's a small bear, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and actually the original, the Focus RS, I guess, that goes for big money these days.
Oh yeah, the Mark 1 based ones,
yeah.
Yes.
But then this, I think maybe the reason it's not quite classic status yet is because it's still very similar to the new ones.
Yeah.
You look at this next to a new Focus ST or RS. This is quite far ahead of its time, really.
Yeah, in a way it was, yeah. And I think the point you make is quite right. Like, the hot hatch mark hasn't really moved on from. Oh, I wonder what that was then. It was just the cat size in the middle. I was thinking, is this the moment that the car finally has a catastrophic failure after I've just been talking about it? Not. Yeah, like it doesn't offer. It's of the same generation, effectively, of these hot hatches. Whereas now with stuff like, say, the A35, A45, like the new RS3, like they've all got 400 or 500 horsepower or whatever. And soon they're all going to be hybrid or EV or whatever. Then this is going to. And that's kind of moving away from the template of what this car was about. And I think this car isn't really that amazing looking either. Like, it's nice, it's quite handsome, but it's not a car that you're going to go, okay, that's actually really, really pretty. Whereas stuff like, say, an old XK or something like that from, say, the early 2000s, or the same time period as this, or stuff like the E39 M5, those were really significant cars at the time.
Yeah, I guess, some people, I guess, are really into the hatchback look, but it's more difficult to make it look beautiful, I think, than other things. But we were saying earlier, it's quite a subtle, really subtle body kit, but it is very different to a standard Focus. Yeah. And it's quite a muscular sort of stance with the big arches.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's very nicely done.
Yeah, agreed. And I think if you get these in black or silver, they really don't look that different to one of the normal Focuses either. Because you could get these with not quite the full ST body kits, but they did, I want to say it was ST line or something like that, I think a little bit towards the end of its life, which kind of had a few of the bits on, but not all of them. Like the nose, for example, which is distinct to this car.
I guess is the suspension a bit different standard as well?
I presume so. I actually don't know, but I would have thought so.
I think it might have been the model after this that they had the is it called Revo knuckle or something? It might have been the Focus RS version of this, and it was all about eliminating understeer or
it was all the torque steer and stuff like that, wasn't it? Yes, I think you're right. I think that was for the RS of this generation. That was an ugly car. Never a fan of those.
Yeah, it went a bit too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did come in a nice sort of acid green.
You say nice. Like, with all due respect to the owners, I was never that much of a fan. It's the first time in a long time that I've been a passenger, and my neck muscle's straining. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing.
You say that now, but
it's partly because I did some long overdue gym work yesterday.
Did you? Okay, we'll blame it on the gym.
Blame it on that, but actually the torque is snapping my head back.
Right, okay.
And I guess when you're driving, you're sort of braced for it. But
yeah.
It's straight.
Okay, that's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done that once, never again gone over a crest assuming it goes straight, and finding that actually it doesn't.
Yeah, just the moment when you lose all the grip, you know, on the brow of the hill.
Yeah, yeah, it's not great. When I first got this car as well, the brakes were really, really good on it. They're obviously not anymore, but I remember the first time I stood on the brakes and like I could feel my face kind of coming away from my skull. I was like, that's a weird sensation, but I approve.
How's the gearbox on this?
Really, really good. Like, I don't know if it probably won't come up on the mic, but you can probably hear it. Like, it just makes a really nice mechanical clunking noise as you go through it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Which I found really fantastic. And actually, that was something about the F140. Like, BMWs are known for not having great gearboxes unless it's like on their really special cars. And that was another thing that kind of put me off making the jump for one of those from one of this. So yeah, very happy with that. From a performance driving standpoint, one thing that doesn't work that well, interestingly, is the handbrake. If you want to do handbrake turns, now you might be thinking, what kind of yob is this who's trying to do handbrake turns in his car?
Yeah, we were trying to get rid of the yobbish image.
Sure. And I did actually take it to the dealer to complain about it at one point, and the dealer looked at me and was like, sorry, what? Why do you care about that? And it's because I've done, do you remember I was was saying before how I'd done an auto test in this car?
Oh, yeah.
At auto tests, you want to be able to do handbrake turns to do the really tight corners. Like, that's literally part of the course.
Yeah.
And this car just couldn't do it. So I basically had to, some bits I literally had to 3-point turn it to get through it, and people at the event were questioning, well, why can't you do the handbrake turn? And one of the marshals had spotted apparently it only binds on one of the wheels or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So whereas most handbrakes bind both wheels, this one only does one. So yeah, I did have my local Ford dealer look into that for me to try and improve my auto test performance. And I have also said to the Ford dealer as well, you know, I was saying before about the brakes not being that good at 140 miles an hour. Yeah. Again, I did preface that by going, yes, I had it on the Autobahn, that's why I know the brakes aren't that great at 140 miles an hour. It's like, all right, so we now understand that you're not actually just a complete maniac on the roads.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to do handbrake turns, this is probably not the ideal car for it.
Yeah, but at least it does have a real handbrake.
A fair point, which is a dying breed as well.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about dipping the clutch when you do it as well. You can just,
yeah, that's true. It's been interesting doing like track days with this thing, just kind of seeing how it stacks up against different things. So the last track day I did, I ended up having a really good, not a race, but just a really good bit of cat and mouse with somebody in a Boxster, like one of the Boxster Cup cars, I think.
Yeah.
So he had the disadvantage that it was raining, and I obviously have my tractor tyres and front-wheel drive, and I had the disadvantage that my car was not an actual race car. But it was really interesting just seeing where he was quick and where I wasn't. I remember that day there was also one of the GR Yaris's there as well.
Oh wow, yeah.
And
that must be a wet day as well.
That thing was just so rapid. There was no way I was going to keep up with that as well. Whenever I see one of those, I'm always jealous of the fact they do have like actual proper handbrakes that.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't it like disengage one of the clutches or something when you pull it in?
I don't know about this actually, but it's a neat feature.
Yeah, it's got loads of like really special bits on it that work super well.
Yeah, it reminds me how you've had this car basically from new, it's your first car, and stuck with it over a number of years. How tempted have you been to try something else? Or?
So I only looked at, I love the idea of a 140i. Yeah, it feels like it kind of takes all the things that make this car great and then turn it up a little notch. So, you know, I was going to say naturally aspirated, but obviously is it naturally aspirated? No, I don't think it is. But you know, 6-cylinder engine, rear-wheel drive, stuff you don't normally get in a hatch, but still quite small. And I'm a really big fan of small cars because it just makes sense. Because you're carrying less weight, less space on the road, everything's a bit lighter, blah blah blah. But it didn't have that same sense of occasion. So I think the only way I'm going to get rid of this car is if it gets written off or it literally catches fire. Because I've had it for so long now, it's honestly, like, I've got a real personal attachment to it. Like, I've done so much stuff in this car, had so many stories with people in it, been on so many adventures with it, done loads of crazy stuff with it.
You've used it for everything you possibly could. Big long trips across Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Being stuck in the snow in snowstorms, driven through awful weather at 2 in the morning. Had taken friends and family all over the place. Had loads of good times in it. Had some bad times in it. Just when stuff's not going that well. Not the car's fault, but just stuff going on. But it's just always been a thing. And given I've had it for 16 years or something, just doesn't matter how bad stuff's going. It's always been there. I always know I can just jump in, shut the door, turn it on. You get that lovely 5-cylinder warball, completely isolated from all the other stuff that's going on in the world in here. And you can just go off, drive, have fun. So it's actually been just a super thing to have, and I am quite a sentimental person, so it's probably not something I'm just going to get rid of on a whim. So we will see. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Let's say if it dies in the next couple of years, when all hot hatches have moved to hybrid EVs or something, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. So
it's I think if you hang on to it long enough, that kid at the car show they'll be going, oh wow,
right,
Focus ST.
Maybe.
Never see those.
Yeah, maybe. It's only not standard anyway.
It really does go.
This was a third gear corner, wasn't it? Should we try the brakes?
Oh my god. What was this about bad brakes?
Okay.
I thought my face moved.
Oh, did you? Okay. That was only from like 50 as opposed to 140 though, so. So I don't think we've spoken about this, but I've also got an iGo as well. And I bought that maybe 3 or 4 years after I got this, because I was working on for work I was doing a project that involved commuting around the M25 to get to the office. And I was thinking, what's the point putting mileage on this thing at 26, 27 mpg in those sorts of conditions and not getting any fun out of it because you're just in traffic the whole time. So got this iGo, which, by the way, massively underrated cars. I love those things. Like, just very, very lightweight, no power, so it's all about momentum.
It's sort of designed to be lightweight from the beginning with it. I think the boot lid is just glass, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. But really, really fun to drive. And also it's a car that feels like it enjoys being pushed. Whereas there's some cars like we got a Hyundai i10 rental car once, same sort of thing as the iGo, but it just seemed to really resent anything remotely that involved any speed or acceleration or anything. It hates it, whereas the iGo actually really likes it. But the point I was going to make is that having that car has actually really helped with the longevity of this one, because it means I've not put as much mileage on this one, but also it keeps this one feeling special when I get back into it, because I'm so used to struggling to just get to 60 miles an hour in the iGo, or the fact it doesn't have any brakes, or all that kind of stuff. Getting into this one, it keeps it feeling fresh and special. So that's a very good tip for I think more people who are into performance cars should get a really weedy little daily to keep the rest of it feeling special.
Top tip.
There you go.
Yeah, this does feel special.
When it makes those noises as well.
Yeah, I was saying this road in the middle at the bottom of the hill is getting pretty lumpy at the moment, but I'm sure this will take it in stride.
We shall see. Wow, gosh. Goodness me.
this is suffering from being at the bottom of the valley and it gets flooded quite a bit.
Okay, so a lot of subsidence.
Yeah. How much longer do you want to go?
I could go all day.
Let's go left here then. Yeah. There's a really nice bit of road actually there.
Okay.
It's just a mile or two away from here, but we'll go up to there and come back.
Alright, perfect.
Yeah, we're going much further than any of the previous videos, but
sure, yeah. Well, I guess this car was actually built in our lifetime, so I guess it's a little bit younger than most other ones that you've had.
Started out doing nothing from this millennium, so this is a bit new, but it is. I think it's a genuinely interesting car and something that does stand out and will be looked back on fondly. So
yeah, I hope so.
I'd almost rather my MX-5 was a 3-cylinder or something, just so it's a bit different.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And the Igo, although I mock it, it's a 3-cylinder as well. It actually does sound okay. It sounds stupid to say out loud, but actually it does sound quite nice. Nice isn't.
Focus Fiesta ST is a 3, I think.
The new ones are, aren't they? Yeah. I don't know. I'm a bit dubious about like those high performance 3-cylinders. It just feels like, are they going to last that long? I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because with this one being like a 2.5 litre 5 or whatever.
Yeah, it sort of gives you a bit of confidence in the engineering, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And the fact that it's lasted for as long as it has, without any major issues, or minor issues really. Yeah. Like every now and again, I think on average I'd probably spend about £1,000 a year in maintenance, which isn't great, but it isn't awful either. It's not like M-car kind of money or anything like that.
It's not out of the ordinary.
No. But like most, on a good year it will be a couple of hundred just for normal maintenance.
Yeah.
And then on a bad year it will be like £1,500 or something. So that's that change in tone.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I discovered that as well, it was like a whole new world had opened up. Because it feels like it starts to run out of puffer around 5,000 RPM or something, but if you keep pushing through, actually it pulls through quite nicely.
Yeah, what's the red line? Because it kind of goes pink.
Yeah, I think it's faded like that because I think it's supposed to be 6 when it's cold and then 6.5 when it's not. Okay. So I think it might be just over 6.5, I think.
Yeah. This is really nice up here. It does get a bit potholey up the hill, but I think they fixed it recently. So.
Find out, I guess. Oh, I love the sight lines as well.
Yeah. This really nice bit. It's parallel to an old railway line.
Okay.
I don't know how it's still autumnal colours at this time of year.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Gosh, that's a little bumpier than I thought. Oh, see what you mean about this road?
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
We'll go right here.
Okay.
Well, we're just around the corner here. That's where it goes. So
that always confuses me. Strangely.
This is a workout for the neck, definitely. Left, sort of just after the corner.
Okay. Wow.
Sorry about that.
That's quite. I did not spot that at all. That was deceptive.
I haven't budgeted for new shocks, unfortunately.
I can't see your camera lying on the floor behind us either, so it should be alright. At least we know where it came off.
Yeah.
There you go, that'll help.
Nice.
Get rid of these tyres.
So thanks a lot, JJ, for coming out. Apologies for the horses.
It's quite
commonplace around here, but we've found some nice roads, and you've shown me what you can do. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for coming out today.
That's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and yeah, thank you for showing me these. This is a really nice part of the country for driving and horse riding and just general being outside. So yeah, thank you for having me.
No worries. Yeah, and obviously, if you've got an interesting car that you'd like to make a video on, please get in touch. You'll see that get a drink and actually wash this in advance as well. So it's all part of the service. And please like, subscribe for more to come. Thanks very much.